eventually there's no more silver left. Now, there's only one thing that can fix that, and that's skyrocketing prices. The price of silver should be multiple times higher than where it is right now. Silver, the most undervalued asset on the face of the planet. But you want to know the reasons why, and so do I. Let's talk about the two big key fundamental reasons why the price of silver could very likely skyrocket in the future. Then let's talk about the technical reason. Icing on the cake, and as further cherry on top, we'll talk about the common sense reason why you, as a silver investor, have a lot to look forward to. Silver has an unbelievable opportunity for growth just from potential improvement in investor demand alone. We're going to talk about that. But first, I want to say thank you for joining me here in the basement. You, yes, you are the most important part of Ron's Basement. Not possible without you choosing to be here. Thank you. Please subscribe to the channel. That is free. Give the video a thumbs up. Super chat, super thanks, PayPal donations. Any of that are much appreciated. Never expected. Never give any money that you can't afford to donate. Now, let's talk about this big runway, big opportunity, right, for improvement in demand from investors in the silver market. Anywhere from your local coin shop to the big online bullion dealers to the hedge funds, all the way to the Russian central bank. Guys, if we just have the smallest improvement in demand, it creates a massive ripple within the silver market. And we're just now starting to see that. Investors are just now starting to come back into, let's say, like the silver ETFs. The hedge funds are just starting to dip their toes into the silver market. That can be the marginal source of demand alone, but we got a lot more to talk about that can drive the silver price much, much higher. Improvement in this area is the path of least resistance. Why is that important? Right? Because sentiment and interest had been beaten down so low that it's a lot easier for more money to come into the sector and have a big, big impact. Now, if you want to get your hands on some silver, gold, or platinum group metals, if you believe this story, right, you can buy metals from companies like channel sponsor Pimbex, Pimbex. They always encourage everyone, stack responsibly. But if you want to get ultra competitive pricing, a great selection, and a company you can trust, I've worked with them long before they sponsored Ron's Basement. They're a company I trust. To me, they're a one-stop shop. They make it easy for me to know I'm getting good quality bullion at an ultra competitive price. I don't have to search around, spend hours trying to research different companies, trying to find the best price by a penny, anything like that. I just go to Pimbex. Please support channel sponsor Pimbex, or just give them a shot. I think you'll like what you discover. What's the next big factor that can affect the silver market, the silver price? The one that everybody talks about, demand from industry. Look, we can check that box. We know that over the last few years and into the coming years, projections for the demand for silver from things like solar panels, electric cars, the defense industry, you name it. It seems like everything that is evolving and becoming more in demand is requiring more and more silver, which will only exacerbate the already incredibly large silver deficit that we have right now. Yes, of course, you know, you've heard it 16 zillion times, but I'll repeat it for you, right? The world is consuming more silver than the mining companies and the recycling efforts can combine. Hundreds of millions of ounces. So if you couple that with an increase in investor demand alone, right, we could see silver prices that go 2, 3, 4, 5 times higher than where we are right now. And when we look at history, that's not out of the question. From a technical perspective, if you look at the silver price relative to gold on a historic basis, we are so cheap in the silver market. Right now, it takes what, 80, 85 ounces of silver to get 1 ounce of gold. Guys, we can't forget that ratio. Recent history averages somewhere between 50 and 60. If we go way back, it's incredibly underpriced right now. Silver, that is. But if we just look at recent history and think about a 50-to-1 gold to silver ratio at a $2,500 gold price, that alone would make $50 silver. But it's even more interesting from a technical perspective when you look at the big rallies that we had back in 1980. 2011, the last times that silver hit $50 per ounce on a nominal, non-inflation adjusted basis, in those periods where the silver price really took off, it far outperformed gold on a relative basis. Guys, when this starts to move, right, when the investors come back, when the market recognizes the imbalance between supply and demand being generated from industrial uses of silver, and the silver price starts to take off, it won't just catch up with gold on a relative basis. It will far exceed gold in terms of its returns. I'm not saying that the price of silver in nominal dollar unicorn fart dust fiat money, that silver will be more expensive, but in terms of how it performs, it will outperform gold. It could get very, very interesting. And what about common sense? I promised you that as well. I'm going to give you the common sense reason why we can know that silver's undervalued. But first, I do want to say thank you to channel sponsor First Mining Gold, Canadian gold development company with 2 multi-million ounce projects in Canada. Gold in the ground in Canada, and Fortuna Mining. They're an operating mining company. Silver and gold being mined in Latin America, and growing gold operations in West Africa. You can learn more about both of those companies at their respective websites, to which I will have a link in the description of this video. But when we talk about common sense, I just want you to think about this, about silver. Number one, it's finite, right? There's a big difference between something being finite, being limited in size, limited in number, and something being infinite, infinite, right? Like paper dollars or electronic currencies or anything like that. There's only so much silver on this planet. And when we circle back to what we talked about earlier, the deficit that's going on right now, not only is there so much silver on the planet, but there's only so much that's been mined and is above ground. And as this deficit continues to eat away at whatever this above ground resource is, eventually it's mathematically certain that if the deficit continues, eventually there's no more silver left. Now, there's only one thing that can fix that, and that's skyrocketing prices. Look, I don't have a crystal ball, but when I look at all these factors and I combine them and I look at what's going on in the world geopolitically, financially, monetarily, I feel real comfortable with an investment in silver and silver mining companies for that matter. I hope you enjoyed this video. I appreciate you being here. Remember, you really are the most important part of Ron's Basement. Make sure you come back, and I'll see you, yes, you, soon.